Thank you for joining us here on ABC24 Plus. I'm Lauren Turman. A Memphis nonprofit founder now at the center of an escalating case, accused of trespassing on the private island once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, and claiming he was then captured, hogtied, and held until police arrived. Court documents say Benjamin Jackson Owen went to Little St. James to gather footage for his anti-trafficking organization, but island staff tell a very different story, alleging he and others ran from the property and that a pregnant woman was knocked to the ground during the confrontation. Now, as questions swirl around what really happened here and whether this was activism or trespassing, we are hearing from someone who knows him best. His wife, Jessica Owen, joins us now. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us here today. There are a lot of questions that I certainly want to ask you and a lot to get to you here in this case. But first, I just want to start by asking you if you can tell us a little bit more about your relationship with Benjamin and how long you all have been together and his character. Speak to how you know him so far as a person and his advocacy.
Oh, that is a lot. We've been together for 11 years. We've been married for 8 years. And he's a very good guy. He's not someone that would go knocking down any pregnant women. He is very dead set on bringing to light things that people don't want to talk about anymore. Things that people have Epstein really isn't the top of the news anymore, and he wanted to bring that more into light. So he has a lot of integrity, and he's a good guy, and he loves children, and he loves. Our nonprofit is for kids. It's to bring light to those that are in the dark, and a lot of what these women went through on the island, it's a lot of darkness, and he just wanted to bring that back into the light.
And so if you could walk me back more towards the beginning of what is alleged here. Tell me about when your husband first told you that he planned to go to Little St. James or Epstein Island, and more of the purpose behind that as you understand it.
So I think we have so much going on. It was either like a month or two ago. So this was planned for a little while, and he just came home one day and was like, I'm going to go to Epstein Island. And we do random things that are very crazy. So I was totally in support of this. The whole point of it really was to go get eyes on it, to maybe get some footage, some photos, and also to plant our We Fight Monsters flag on it. Just kind of taking back the land for all the victims, if that makes any sense. So that was the plan, was to go on there. He knew that he would probably get caught for trespassing. He was totally okay with that. He even brought bond money because he was expecting that. We knew it was owned by, another billionaire now, Stephen Deckoff. But that was just something that was a risk he was willing to take to do this. And he's a very adventurous kind of guy. So he was just like, I'm going to do it. And we were okay with that. So he went. And sorry, what else did you want me to answer? I'm sorry.
Sure. No. So you were really just mentioning how he knew and had an understanding that he may be caught for trespassing. He brought that bond money with him. So he believed that this fight was worth it in order to go there and really carry out the mission that he was supposed to.
Yep, absolutely. He figured he would get caught and arrested. That was totally okay with him. And actually, I think he wanted that a little bit, just to get eyes back on that subject on that island, and possibly to get more eyes on We Fight Monsters.
Sure. And so earlier when we were introducing you, we recounted some of the details of the allegations in this case. But can you tell me from your perspective, from Benjamin's perspective, what exactly has he told you happened here? What exactly is his narrative of the events that took place?
So they took a boat over to the island, but they couldn't just stop it right there because there were rocks. So they ended up having to swim like 100 yards, and then the hill to get up. They went to the temple and they took a picture like in front of the temple with the We Fight Monsters flag, and the guy he was with, which was with Close Horizon. So they took pictures of both of their flags, but to get up the hill to the temple, it was like another 400 yards. So by the time he got up there, and I think he might have had like a slight asthma attack on the way. So he was already kind of breathing heavy when he got up there. And then, they saw security guards. They knew they were about to get caught. The other guys kind of thought, well, if we all get caught, there's nobody that's going to be able to bond him out of jail. So Ben was like, it's cool. I got this. I'm going to go ahead and take this charge. Y'all go. So you're ready when I need to get out of jail. So they went and he stayed. And what we thought was going to be just no trespassing. We're going to call the cops. That didn't happen at all. They actually and they were very aggressive. And we do have footage of what happened. I don't know if maybe we'll release that a little bit later, but we do have footage. And so they were very aggressive, and they took Ben, and the main lady in charge, Anne Rodriguez, had these Haitians tie him up. And I think Ben said they did it kind of loosely at first because I think they felt bad doing it. And Ben said that they were terrified of this woman. You think like a woman hogtied you and a woman blindfolded you, but Ben says she was extremely aggressive, and all these men that were under her were terrified of her. So they hogtied him, they blindfolded him, they put him in something they deemed the dungeon, which is, and I saw a picture from like the Google Maps, and it's essentially like it's underground almost. You just have a door, and the door goes into an underground area, but it was like 100 and something degrees there. They wouldn't give Ben any water for hours. He was already dehydrated. He had already drinking a lot of seawater on the way. He was, still in an asthma attack. So it was very bad. And from the footage I saw, which was on one of the other guys that did leave the island, I didn't see anybody get knocked down. I did see her, and she was like, "Don't move, do not move." And then he took off. I saw nobody hit the ground. So I don't know what the pregnant lady is talking about, if she's even pregnant at all. But that is what I have heard. And then the cops came in, VIPD, which he has been incredibly complimentary and appreciative of them. And they pretty much saved his life, because I don't know if he was going to make it off that island. And if I'm being honest, I don't think he was ever supposed to make it off that island, because if you look up Anne Rodriguez, who was in charge of all of this, her name shows up in the Epstein files over 23,000 times. Like she was one of the right-hand men of Epstein. She did logistics for him, doing airplane tickets. So there's a lot to this story. I don't know how deep we're in it now. There's a lot.
There certainly is, and even just reading through some of the details, and you named some of the aggression and some of the things from your understanding that really happened with Ben while he was there. I would just love to know, after seeing that, after hearing about it, what was your initial reaction to the aggression that you said and you named as happening to him there?
When I first found out about it, I was furious, because I love my husband very much, and I wanted to go hit them. If I'm being honest, I wanted to go fight them. Obviously, I'm thousands of miles away, and I can't do that. But at first, it was very scary, because when they took him and the other guys left, nobody knew where he was. So I got a text saying, "We don't know where Ben is." So it was very scary for a few hours there when nobody could find him. And then I initially got, then I got the call that he was in jail, and thank God he was off that island. But I was very angry, not at Ben, because all this was kind of planned, but angry at the fact that somebody hogtied him and blindfolded him, which, when it should have been just a simple call to the cops to say, "Hey, there's a guy trespassing."
And that's certainly a lot to absorb there. Now, Jessica, earlier you talked about We Fight Monsters. You talked about the mission and what you all are trying to do in that nonprofit, specifically in this case. But I would love to know, has Ben conducted any similar investigations in the past, or has he had any similar action to this, or any efforts through We Fight Monsters that might speak to more of what the organization does for people who may be hearing about it for the first time and want to know more about what led to the alleged actions here?
Well, there's definitely been nothing to this severity. He's never gone to an island to go check out anything. But, we've been doing this since December of 22, I think, is when we started We Fight Monsters. And since then, we've shut down trap houses, brothels. We've turned them into safe and sober living and safe houses for trafficked women and their children. He has helped women get their kids back after they were trafficked. Their traffickers used drugs as a tool of coercion. We got them in, Ben especially, we'll get them into rehab, we'll get them better, we'll get them into classes, and they will then go to one of our houses and get their kids back when they're better. So Ben has always been trying to make things better, trying to make kids' lives better, trying to help trafficked women. Anything he can do to make the world better, that is what he's going to do. And apparently he will sacrifice life and limb for it.
And in mentioning a lot of what has happened here, do you believe that Ben, the group that was involved here, of course, there's a lot of different elements coming at him at one time, as well as some of the other allegations on the opposite side of things. Do you believe that Ben and the group that was involved here handled the situation responsibly, especially once they were confronted?
I think they did. I mean, they knew that there was a risk they would get caught. That was fine. And Ben stayed, and he didn't put up a fight. He literally just sat down and waited on them to come. The other guys, they didn't try to fight. They just ran. They just went back to the boat. And obviously, like I said before, they did have to swim back to the boat, but they got off the island, they swam to the boat, and Ben just sat down and was waiting on them to come over. So there was no violence. There was no fighting. There was no, anything bad. I think the only people that really did handle it horribly and aggressively were the people on that island.
Sure. And so on a more personal basis, talk to me about what life has really looked like after all of this has come out, after you've reviewed everything, you've seen what's going on in this case. How has this incident really impacted your family dynamic?
Well, it's not as much as you would think, because we're so used to doing crazy stuff. I think the kids were taken aback a little bit to know how close he got to being severely injured or possibly being dead. We did keep it from them for a few days, but now that it's out in the open, we did finally tell them that he was actually really close to dying. But, things have to go on. We still have nonprofits. We still have businesses to run. So that's what we've been doing. Just every day, we're still going about our jobs, doing our normal thing. It did give us more appreciation for the relationship that we have, for the life that we have. Appreciation to God for keeping a shield of protection over him. But it hasn't really changed too much.
And what did recovery really look like here for Ben, and just kind of taking care of him as you all continue your work with the nonprofits and your business there? What did all of that look like once all of this was said and done?
So one of the girls that works for us, Casey, she went and contacted all the people that Ben usually has Zoom calls with and business calls. And she was just like, look, we're going to give him a week off. Y'all just talk to me and talk to the other girl that works, who was Nicole. And they just wanted to let him just rest for a few days. And also his leg might be broken a little bit. Something's wrong with it. So we are getting an MRI done of that. We have a few doctor's appointments set up just so he can get himself checked out and make sure that everything's okay. And he's just been taking it easy at the house, which is easy for Ben, is like a normal day for normal people, because he just goes. So even though it is easy for Ben, he's still doing a lot. But we are trying to keep him settled down and calm and get him seen by doctors.
Okay, it's to hear that he's recovering well at this time. And you talked about earlier how the work of this nonprofit, We Fight Monsters, is really worth it in a moment like this, especially when it comes to Epstein Island. But on the legal side of things, I'm curious as to the battle ahead, how you all may be taking things up right now, what you're looking for, and what you are really hearing when it comes to any legal repercussions that may come out of this.
I'm not really sure exactly what's going to happen. I know that he bonded out. He's got to have arraignment on the 15th of May, and we'll hear more after that. I'm not real sure which direction they're trying to go. I do know that the jail staff, the cops, the court staff, the magistrate overseeing the case have been phenomenal. He's been very complimentary of them. and VIPD, all of them have been incredible. So we're very grateful for them. And I mean, to my knowledge, they were all pretty much, they didn't even want him to be charged. Like, they were pretty much forced to be charged by Ann Rodriguez. And she just wanted to do her civil arrest, however you call that. But I'm not sure where things are going to go, but I do think it was worth it. He thinks it's worth it. And if it's going to bring more eyes back onto that island, and the woman who was still running it for Epstein back in the day, like, something's very wrong with that. So I think it was worth it just to get eyes back on this situation.
Sure. And what you just said there about it being worth it also echoes a lot of some of the narratives we've heard from survivors that are alleged to have come out of that island, right? There's a lot of a cadence of resilience and of pushing forward and of moving along. And it seems like you and Ben are really taking that same tone and approach when it comes to all of this.
Absolutely. And, you know, for anybody can look us up and find out that we used to be addicts. We used to be homeless on the streets, you know, that we went through so much, and we went through recovery, and we started doing the right things, and we started nonprofits, and we just want to give back. We just want to help people and show them the way out of darkness. And with that, you have to show that you've been through it. You have to be resilient. You have to show people, I've been through this, I've gotten out, you can too. And so that's a lot of our story and what we're trying to show people. It doesn't matter what you have been through. There is another side. There is a better way. There's a better life. And so all we're trying to do is just show light and hope to so much darkness out there.
And Jessica, is there anything that you think may be missing here? Anything that you want the public to understand about this? Anything you want the public to understand about Ben that isn't necessarily being captured in the headlines?
I will just say that some people, and you know, you'll have idiots online everywhere, and we get that. And some people are just like, well, why did he do it? That was an idiot thing to do. But to us, it wasn't. You know, to us, it was completely worth doing what he did. I'm not going to say we, because I was not there. But and pretty much what I've already said, it's worth it for the victims of Epstein, for the victims everywhere. This was for all of them, you know, because it's not right what's been done to them. And I think for any focus to shift off of this island, especially when I don't think anybody's ever been arrested for anything that went on in that island. And the fact that Ben was the first one arrested from that island says a lot. Like, what? You can do things with kids on the island, but as soon as you trespass, then you're going to get arrested. There's something very wrong with that.
Well, Jessica, thank you so much for taking some time to come and speak with us here today and tell us a little bit more about your perspective and understanding of what is going on here. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you all very much for joining us here on ABC24+. We will have much more coverage ahead later on this evening at 5 and 6, and then tonight at 10.